Hello and welcome to GradCast, the official radio show and podcast of the Society of Graduate Students at Western University. I'm your host, Liam Clifford.
I'm your co-host, Nicole Poznov.
And I'm your other co-host, Reese Patterson.
And today we're with Ricardo Mole on what is a very special episode for GradCast today, the inaugural episode of our brand new International Student Experience segment called #GlobalGrads. Ricardo, thank you very much for joining us today.
Ooh, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you.
Now, Ricardo, brand new segment. We're very excited to have you on. So thank you so much again for joining us today. How about you just explain to the audience a little bit about yourself, where you come from, and a bit of why you're decided to study at Western.
Well, my name is Ricardo Mole. I'm 31, although I'm pretty sure that it doesn't look like. And I am in the master's political science program. And well, why I choose Western? To be honest, my current supervisor, he is Canadian, obviously, but he used to be my supervisor here in Brasilia. That's where I am from. I live in Brasilia. It's the capital of Brazil. It's a quite a big city in the central region of the country, and I was born and raised here. Well, Brasilia is it's like Ottawa. It was a planned city to be the capital, but I think it have a population like around or maybe slightly bigger than Montreal, so it's a big city. But it doesn't look like a big city. There's a lot of parks and bucolic spaces around here, and it's more likely to be like a huge London. Just to make a comparison, like not with Ottawa. And,
so are you currently in Canada or Brazil?
No, I'm currently in Brazil.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm currently in Brazil due to the pandemic.
What time is it there?
Oh, we are 2 hours forward.
Oh, okay.
2 hours ahead, yeah. It was actually only 1 hour, but due to the daylight time that you started at the beginning of the month, it's now 2 hours. But it's not
bad.
It's not an issue, yeah. And well, I choose Western. Sorry, I kind of got lost in my own answer. But I choose Western because my former supervisor, Professor Toujon from the political science department, he used to live here. He teached at the University of Brasilia, where I did my undergrad in political science, and after like 8 years working with government relationship, I kind of got tired of that, and I came to him to ask which alternatives could I have in like pursuing a master degree. And confidently he told me that he was about to leave Brazil, and because he was going to start teaching in Western. And after that things just happen. I looked for it, I like it, and I lived in Canada last year. I had the opportunity to visit London for a weekend, and the rest is all story.
What other places have you visited? Obviously, you came to London for a weekend, but did you explore anywhere else in Ontario?
Yeah, I backpacked to Ottawa, Montreal, and Quebec City, like the most basic cities, I think, at least in that region, right? But it was an amazing experience, to be honest. I had a really great time because I backpacked partly with some friends and partly all by myself. I went to Ottawa in a very nice opportunity that I have that time, because I had this couple of friends that I met in Toronto, Laura and Max, they are like, Laura constantly is also a political scientist, Liam, so we have so much in common to talk about in our lazy time.
Very
And
good.
she is Colombian and Max is German, but both speaks Portuguese, and they actually live their lives as a couple in Portuguese. So I was, at that time, my English wasn't that good at all. I don't think actually it still is, but at that time I made this trip with her, with them, because Laura was about to get her citizenship, and she should attend this ceremony in Ottawa. So it was like a very rich trip, culturally speaking, because she also lived there. She studied in University of Ottawa, and as a political scientist and someone who also studied a lot about the Canadian politics, she explained a lot of stuff to me. She explained how the government system works, and I wasn't that aware about how the Canadian government, Canadian politics works in general, and but not only about politics, but also about the whole Canadian history. And after that, they had to get back to Toronto, and I, I I continued my trip by myself, and I visit several places, several uh, coffee shops. I'm actually a true coffee lover. I love specialty coffees, and that's what actually guided my trip. Like I didn't go for all the touristic landmarks. I looked for the best coffee shops in each of these cities, and that was the best decision I make. To be honest, I made, to be honest, because uh, with that script for my trip, I kind of went to the best places I could ever imagine. I couldn't even imagine that I would leave some sort of situations that I had the opportunity to. So yeah, I think that is.
So one question, since you are a coffee aficionado, have
Yeah.
you had Tim Hortons coffee as the true quintessential Canadian experience? And what are your thoughts on the coffee if you've had it?
Oh God,
Oh,
don't say
all right.
that.
Actually, I hope that this isn't a sensitive topic, but I gotta say that I respect Tim Hortons.
Oh,
Dude.
don't. There's nothing to
I
respect
respect-
there.
Oh, I respect just because it's a kind of a national symbol.
Ah, it's
But
awful.
actually, the coffee is so bad. The coffee is so bad.
Okay, well, it used to actually, so I can't remember exactly how many years ago, but it used to be what the McDonald's coffee is now. That used to be the Tim Hortons coffee, but then I think like A&W bought it out or something, and then they lost their bargain on the coffee beans. So now they have just literally the worst pick of all the coffee beans, and it tastes so bad. So don't feel bad about saying that it tastes like shit, because it does.
Yeah,
And I've
it's
been in
actually,
Canada
it's
for a long
actually
time.
it's actually very bad. I only recurred to it when I was like pretty much tired, but I still had like to get at home alive.
When you're
So
desperate.
yeah, with some situations like this, after like leaving the work very tired, or but still aficionated with coffee, and okay, I must consume some caffeine, and all right, that's the only coffee shop close to me, and it's still open. So, but well, other than Tim Hortons, Canada actually have some very good coffee roasters, and most of them, actually all of them, all of the coffee beans are not uh, from North America, obviously, but I felt so proud when I consumed some very good Brazilian coffee in Canada. That was a very nice experience, actually.
Must have been a proud moment, and I promise you, you offended none of us by criticizing Tim Hortons. I can assure you of that much. Now, in your experience with Canada, Canada is an enormous country, and I mean, you did see some of the major cities along the sort of eastern portion of the country. Was there anything that particularly stuck out to you? Any bit of culture that really resonated with you, or any specific thing that you saw that you really remember as being truly Canadian?
Well, I'm not sure if this is something like related to Canada specifically, but I could note, but leaving Toronto, I could notice how Torontonians are. Like there is this stereotype, right? And you can say better than me, but there is this stereotype of how like workaholics they are and how in a rush every time they are. And I had this occasion in Quebec City that I met this guy in a bar, and we are just chatting at the like while grabbing a beer, and he was actually from Regina or
In
Calgary.
Saskatchewan.
Mhm.
No, he was from Calgary, and
Oh, okay.
and he was like very calm speaking, and he wasn't like in a rush as most of the people that I've met in Toronto, and he actually started to talk about how Torontonians are, and uh, and about how differently people can be uh, in Canada. Well, Canada is a vast country. I like Brazil is huge if you look into the map, but Canada, oof, it's absurd, and but still there are very few people compared to other countries, right? Uh, but still, Canada is a very diverse country, and that's something that I really loved about Canada. The diversity that the Canadian people have, like due to immigration policies or due to the colonization history and everything that made you be the people that you are.
I'm going to just say that I think that it's not just necessarily Torontonians, however you say that word, that are the workaholics, but I honestly just think it's the entire North American population. Like in comparison to places in Europe, and like in particularly, I can speak to Sweden because I lived there for a year, but like everyone in Canada is just like work as much as I can, make as much money as I can. Whereas like in Europe and stuff, they're actually living to enjoy their life. Like in Sweden, they have 4-day work weeks and 6-hour work days, and they get just as much done as we do here in Canada in like 100 overtime hours. Like it's just ridiculous. Like here we live to work, versus there they work to live, I guess. So yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a big culture change, I would say.
Yeah, it is, and I noticed that as well. I had some like small jobs when I lived in Toronto, uh, but I could notice how workaholic people are, and you were probably right that it's not only people from Toronto, but like mm, Canadians or North Americans in general, because well, the U.S. is it's like that as well.
I'm sure there's a joke somewhere where you have a Vancouverite, a Torontonian, and somebody from like Halifax all like meet in a bar. It's probably there's
See,
a
it's a
joke
hard
in
word
there
to
somewhere.
say.
Oh.
Try saying Torontonian 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Sorry, but isn't that a word? I thought it was.
Yeah.
No, you absolutely got it right. And Ricardo, I might just add that when you pronounce Toronto, you actually dropped the second T, like most people from Toronto do, which is
Yes, I got
excellent.
that.
So it
I
really
got that
really
from them.
really shows your time in the city. Now, is there any sort of stereotype, sort of like the workaholic one we've been talking about, that you can attribute to a particular Brazilian city or state?
Yes, pretty much São Paulo. São Paulo is pretty much like that. Uh, as you may know, São Paulo is the biggest city, if I'm not wrong, in Latin America. Maybe it's only, I think I'm not sure, but maybe it's even bigger than Mexico City. Uh, but well, people from São Paulo are known here to be very workaholic, and they like wake up working and they go to bed still working, and they dream about work. So it's that's kind of the stereotype that they have here.
So, of the places that you visited here in Canada, which one would you say is your favorite?
I had a really great time in Ottawa, curiously, although people usually say that, oh, there's nothing much to do there. But I really had a great time in Ottawa, mainly because I was with a group of friends, and but I loved Montreal as well.
I was
love the
gonna
city.
say, I think Montreal is the most European-like city. So most of the time when people come visit Canada, they like really appreciate like Quebec City and Montreal. So I was expecting that answer from you. I was surprised by Ottawa.
Yeah. But it's actually because of the fact that I was with friends, with uh, I was with like 5 or 6 friends that I've actually met in Toronto. But so because of that, I had some great days and nights in Ottawa. But when I went to Montreal by myself, I got amazed with the city. I could notice that people from Quebec are a little bit different, and that's so nice. I found that's awesome, and I really would like to speak French at least a little bit, because as I told you before, when I went to Ottawa, I went to some friends who speaks Portuguese, and I also met other Brazilians there that actually live in Canada for more than 10 years. But I was like quite comfortable with the language because I could keep speaking in Portuguese with my friends. But then we had this party with a lot of other Colombians and Spanish people, and uh, in the same party we were like speaking in English, Portuguese, and Spanish, and suddenly I realized that I was kind of going back and forth with the 3 languages that I didn't even knew that I would be able to speak so much. But then the day after, I went to Montreal, and people started to ask me things in French, and I kind of I froze. I couldn't speak, not even in English anymore, because I started to answer. I realized I started to answer people in Spanish, and that made no sense at all. So okay, then I kind of freak out, and then okay, just calm down and enjoy your trip. You are all alone now. Enjoy the city, and that's what happened. I just started to walk around Montreal, and I realized how beautiful the city is, and how awesome the whole region there is, and people as well. Although I didn't meet many people as I did in Ottawa.
Don't worry about not being able to speak French. In the Canadian curriculum, we are all taught how to speak French, and then usually there's a trip to like Montreal or Quebec City, and we think we're so cool, and we go and speak French, and everyone looks at you. It's just like, oh, these English speakers, they think they can speak it, but they can't.
Yeah.
Honestly, no offense to people from Quebec, but they just butchered the French language. So don't even try to speak Quebecois French. It's not even worth it. Like
Yeah,
they just butchered
I
it.
heard that. I hope they don't get offended, because I'm
No,
actually very polite, but I heard that is true. Well,
I find it quite interesting how we see like a confluence of all of these Romance languages finding each other on Canada's soils, with Portuguese, Spanish, and French really all coming to the forefront. So, you know, I think once you have a basis in one of those languages, it becomes easier to learn another one. So I think with due practice, you can certainly embrace your full Canadian side and learn a bit of French as well.
yeah, I hope so. As all being Latin origin languages, I think that is like I'm kind of a step further in that regard. But curious fact is that I learned the last time I was in a Spanish class was like 10 years ago. And then after some tequila shots, I realized I could speak fluently. And I got compliments from Spanish people. And all right, then maybe I can speak better Spanish than English. But I got to stick with English. And here I am.
Excellent. Well, very good. We're really enjoying your kind of experiences in Canada so far. Now, we might have to shed a little light on an unfortunate topic in COVID-19 and how this has impacted your journey as an international student. What sort of experiences have you undergone with trying to study as an international student in a global pandemic?
Well, Liam, that's actually kind of a bad topic to when you are kind of talking to a Brazilian guy who have some consciousness about how bad COVID is, because it really became a politicized topic around here in Brazil, and I actually don't know how much the Canadian media coverage about South American countries and about Brazil specifically, but the president of Brazil, Mr. Bolsonaro, he didn't give proper attention to what the pandemic really is, and because of that, our numbers, our COVID numbers are pretty bad. We are only behind the US in numbers of contamination and death. And that's something obviously very bad. But since the breakout of the pandemics, I'm at home with my parents, and I almost go nowhere instead of the supermarket. And due to that, also the Canadian government stopped issuing visas. So actually, despite we are about to finish the fall term in some weeks, I still don't have my student permit, for example. And we all are studying online, but as I don't have a visa, I also couldn't be assigned as a TA. And well, there is all the currency factor about being an international student. We have to exchange the currency, to pay in Canadian dollars, the tuition and all that stuff. But without the TA-ship, everything became much harder to afford, because if I could be there in London or in anywhere in Canada at least, I could be working and being paid in Canadian dollars, and that would be like something that would be helpful. But well, another thing in regard to the pandemic, in being an international student, is that as we are all at home, it's quite hard to get along with people. And as you may have noticed, I am a very social person. I like to make friends. I like to know people. I like to engage in conversations. And that's so hard to do when you just meet people in a Zoom room, in a Zoom meeting. And Facebook is not a good social media in my opinion, although I still have it. But and it's kind of hard to get along with my peers sometimes. But still, Liam, I have to say, our political science fellows, we are getting along very well, I think, despite the pandemic. So
sometimes... I've been quite impressed with it, for sure.
Yeah,
it's really easy to get like Zoom fatigue, And especially with classes being online, and then especially like Western's clubs, like we had a Halloween event where you could carve pumpkins online, and that, like, when we're all in a room together and carving pumpkins and having fun, it has a totally different ambiance to when you're at home in your apartment or in your room and you're just carving a pumpkin by yourself and like trying to be jovial and trying to be happy. And it really sucks. Everyone feels the exact same way, for sure.
Yeah, Riz. I actually attended one of these Halloween parties, and although Halloween is not that celebrated here in Brazil, I kind of tried to enjoy, but it felt a little bit awkward, I have to say.
That's when you gotta have some tequila shots.
Yeah, I should have looked for that.
Speak some Spanish and really spice up the party.
Yeah, I missed that time.
So what are you planning to come back to Canada after, well, hopefully if the pandemic is done soon, as soon as you can?
Yes, as soon as I can, I want to head to Canada because well, more than just taking classes while taking a master's program, the whole thing is about the whole Canadian experience, like to be there and to get along with people from different backgrounds, from well, with Canadians, with non-Canadians, with other international students, and the whole experience of being in Canada and in a university. That's something. It's kind of how can I say? It's not included in the tuition, but we are also paying for that, you know. And I really miss that. I really would like to be playing. I have to use the proper word, football with Liam, and and not just like talking about soccer.
No, absolutely. I can certainly, I can assure you, you're not the only one who feels like that. But we understand how that distance can make it feel even more isolating. Now, Ricardo, we're almost out of time, but do you have any final words for your experience in Canada as a whole?
Well, as we are talking about getting along with people, I think that would be my suggestion for other potential international students. Get along with your peers, because well, I am a very social person. I already told that, but with people is when we get the better experiences in life that we have, I think. So my best friends for life are both from my childhood, but also not only from my childhood, but also from my undergrad time. And currently he's in the PhD program as well. And hugs to Álvaro Pereira, who is our TA, Liam. And
Excellent.
And well, friends are what the most valuable thing that we take for life, I think. And
yeah, and I
that's my
think
suggestion.
sorry,
Okay.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was just saying, I think that's what a lot of people take for granted. Well, we're taking for granted up until COVID-19, and we'll hopefully value a lot more once this is all over. I can't wait to meet you in person, Ricardo.
Oh, thank you. Me too. I really want to meet all of you guys in person as soon as I get there.
We'll go to the grad club and we'll have some shots.
All right. I will take notes into that.
That sounds excellent. Ricardo, thank you so much for coming on. We would like to ask if you have any social media that you'd like to share with our audience.
Yeah, you can look for me in Facebook. My is Ricardo Moll, Moll, and the same in Instagram, Ricardo Moll, all together.
Excellent. Thank you so much. This has been GradCast, the official radio show and podcast of the Society of Graduate Students at Western University. I've been your host, Liam Clifford, and my co-hosts were Nicole Posnoff and Reese Patterson. We've been speaking with Ricardo Mole, and this episode was produced by Gavin Tolometti. If you would like to be involved with the show or get in contact with us, email us at gradcastradio@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter at GradCastRadio. To listen to us, we are on Radio Western 94.9 FM. You can also find all of our episodes on our website at gradcast.ca or on podcast apps like Podbean, iTunes, and Spotify. Alternatively, select podcasts have been uploaded to YouTube at Gradcast Radio. Thank you for listening and have a good night.